Hey guys, welcome to My Sew Bliss. Today I'm going to show you how to make these really cute quilted stockings. They're super fun and easy, and I'm going to tell you all about these foundation paper piecing patterns that I used as well. So this stocking pattern is a free pattern that I created, and I'm going to link it down below. You just have to click on the link and put in your email address, and it will be emailed straight to your inbox, and you'll get this pattern. And then I'm also using this foundation paper piecing pattern. I just love the look of these. My friend Liza made them, and she does amazing foundation paper piecing patterns, so you better go check her out. I'll put links down below for the pattern and for her YouTube channel, so you can learn all about doing this cool technique. It's super fun and kind of like meditative, and I've really enjoyed making it. And she has these really cute Christmas ones, perfect for stockings or pillows, all of the things. So the supplies that you're going to need for this project: first, fabric. I just used a fat quarter for the outside fabric. That's about an 18 by 22 inch piece of fabric, and then use that on the front and the back. And then I used another fat quarter for the inside lining, and I did use another fat quarter, but you don't need the whole thing, just a little amount for this tab and then the binding at the top. But you could also use pre-made binding that you could just buy at the store. You could use for this as well. I did use some batting in between all my layers just to give it that extra thickness, coziness, and I just really like the way that turned out. And then you're just going to need all your basic sewing supplies. So once you have all that, you are ready to get started making your quilted stocking. Once your pattern pieces are printed out, you're going to tape them together, and then I just roughly cut out a bigger size of the fat quarter. You're going to be cutting 2 mirror images. So you'll see over on this other one, once I flipped it, I didn't have it tall enough, so I just cut off a piece and sewed that on to make it fit. You could also quilt pieces together to make it the size that you need, but I just used this whole cloth, and I really like the look of it with this foundation paper piece pattern. So now I want to show you a little bit about it. I highly recommend you check out Liza Taylor Handmade's YouTube channel. She walks you through exactly how to do these foundation paper piecing patterns and just has some really, really cute ones. But you'll see here, I actually am going to sew through this paper, and that's why it's called foundation paper piecing. I am still putting fabric pieces right sides together. You cut them to be larger than the size that you'll need. And that's why foundation paper piecing is so great for using your scrap fabric, because you just use these pieces and then you trim them up and sew them together. You rip away the paper after you're all done, and it just looks so nice and so precise. So make sure to check these patterns out and to check out her channel. Once the foundation paper piecing pattern, whatever one you choose to do, if you choose to do one, is done, then I'm going to sew it into my fabric piece. And I'm just kind of measuring it up. This doesn't have to be as accurate right now because we're just getting it ready to be quilted. So that's why it's bigger than my actual pattern piece. You just want it slightly bigger so that when you're quilting it, you don't have to be as accurate, and it kind of shrinks down a little bit when you quilt it. So I'm adding these side panels to Santa's face, and then I'm going to add a top one so that I have it long enough for our stocking. And I'll just sew those all together. And like I said, making sure it fits that pattern piece. And again, make sure you have a mirror image. So you have one left side piece and one right side piece. And I'm also going to cut this batting out. Then before I do any markings, I like to pin it really well to make sure it stays in place. And then I just use my large clear ruler, and on a 45-degree angle, I'm just drawing 1 inch spaced lines across the whole piece that I have, the whole piece of fabric. And I like to do a checkered look. You could do any kind of quilting you want, but this is just how I did mine. Once I have my lines drawn, I can then just go over to my sewing machine and stitch on those lines. And this takes a little bit of time, but it's great practice for just sewing straight lines. And I just really like the look of it. I think it gives the stockings a real homey look. After those pieces are quilted, I'm then going to pin my stocking pattern onto the quilted pieces, making sure I have mirror images of those stockings, and then cutting around the pattern to cut out that right size. So I'm going to have 2 of these mirror image. I can't say that enough because it's just so important. And then once those are ready, I can set those off to the side. I am lining this one up. I'll tell you that I did make sure the pattern piece is in the right spot so that it matches that gingerbread man one. I didn't want Santa's face to be like super off compared to the other one. So that's why I had that other one. But then I just cut out my lining pieces. These ones I didn't quilt. I just, like I said, cut them out from a fat quarter and cut 2 mirror images of it as well. And I really like how these Christmas trees look with this fabric. It's super cute. So now I want to line these fabrics up so that we can sew them all together. So I'm putting the outside pieces right sides together. And then on top of that, I'm going to put the lining pieces right sides together. And then I'm going to pin through all 4, actually that's 6 layers of fabric and batting. Over at my sewing machine, I'm going to stitch around, but leaving the top of the stocking open. I like to stitch on the batting side because that was my smallest side, like smallest way in. So it was making sure that I really got all of these layers sewn together, making sure I backstitch beginning and end. It was about a 1/4 inch seam allowance, but then afterwards I did go around and trim just to reduce that bulk in the stocking and make sure everything caught and I'm not going to have any weird raw edges when I turn it right sides out. Because now after the trimming, I'm ready to turn it right sides out. Make sure you push out the toe and the heel really nicely. You could also give it a good press. That'll look really nice. And you can see right there how that works out. Now I'm going to take my binding strip and measure the opening of this stocking so I can know how big to make it. So I just took my pins, actually clips, and measured how much of this binding I need, found them lined up, and then just sewed those ends together. I did not do like the bias stitch. I just did a straight stitch on this. It looks fine. It turned out fine. But if you want to do that typical bias stitch, you totally can. And if you want to learn how to make this, I'll put a link down below for how to make your own binding, or you could just buy it from the store. So then after folding it right sides out, so wrong sides together, I then pinned it or clipped it to around the edge and sewed it on. Then I'm trimming it up just like we did before. This just reduces the bulk. And then I'm going to fold that binding over that raw edge, clip it in place. And I liked to do a hand stitch with this. I just do a slip stitch and it's so small. It was super easy, super quick, didn't take very much time, and it just makes it look so nice. The final thing I wanted to add to this stocking is a little piece for it to hang on your fireplace. So I just took a binding piece, folded it so this raw edges meet in the middle, and then folded it in half. So it's a double fold bias strip. If you want to just buy it, you can. And then I just folded those raw edges in, ironed it really well. And now I'm just pinning it into the corner and sewing it using a long rectangle. And then if you want to do an X in it, you can. That will just give it more strength. Make sure it's holding on really nicely. But I felt like this rectangle did a pretty good job. And once that is sewn in, it's going to look so nice and hang on your fireplace really well. And once you have attached that little tab to hang your stocking, you are all done making your quilted stocking. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe so you will know when I share my other sewing tutorials and tips and tricks. And if you have any comments, make sure to leave them down below in the comment section and I will try and get back to them. You can also make sure to check out my links down below, especially for Liza's patterns. Super cute, super fun, and she has a lot more, not just Christmas ones. So I will see you guys next time. Bye!